Well, good morning or good afternoon, everybody. I'm pleased to welcome everyone in today's webinar. This is our second membership networking event, and during lockdown, we had some difficulties to do face-to-face, I would say, networking events. This is what we usually do. Today's event basically is to explain and to promote our members into the Arab world mainly, and to speak about their services and all the basically great potential that they have to provide in this circumstances. We're here as ABCC to basically promote and support and to eliminate any obstacles they might face. So I don't want to take of anybody's time. I look forward to hear their presentation, which is going to be an extremely exciting and valuable presentation. Our colleague, Mr. Abdussalam, will have a quick presentation about our chamber and the services that we're going to provide. So Abdussalam, it's to you, and I'm here to answer any questions.
Thank you, Mr. Bandar, and welcome everybody, and Eid Mubarak to my Muslim colleagues. As you know, we just have the festival of Eid after a good month of Ramadan. So the situation, as far as the chamber is concerned, is that we've always continued to serve you as members throughout COVID. We never locked down one day. We had a skeleton crew, but we continued delivering everything that we delivered, apart from real events, which obviously we could not do for you. We're always constantly trying to evolve and trying to give you more services, and we've done quite a lot. We've done so many webinars with ambassadors, with businesses. We provide you with all our publications, which I'm delighted that you're receiving, and I do welcome any editorial that you wish us to publish in any of our publications. It is a window for you to use, and it is a service that we give you. We also do all your export documentation. I mean, the markets have been slow, and because the markets were all closed, so that trade is resuming. Business is starting to come back, and this is why we need to be working with you to capture those opportunities as and when they arise, and to keep you informed as and when they arise. So that's very, very important. We also do a lot of courses to deal with export documentation. As you know, we issue the Arab Certificate of Origin and all the commercial documents to move your goods freely into the Arab world. You're very lucky because, as you all saw, British companies are having a terrible time with Brexit and export declaration and all the raft of paperwork that's causing them havoc and causing delays in movement of goods. But with the Arab world, nothing's changed. The documentation is the same, the system is the same. And the benefit for members, you get them at 50% on market price on our certification fees. So you get quite a large discount. We do a lot of range of courses, so I hope you have participated in our courses. They do with international trade, and we're going to be doing one very soon on export declarations, because we do appreciate that our members don't just deal with the Arab world, they deal with Europe, they deal with many other countries. So if we can facilitate some information for you on that level, we are very happy to do so. We do value our members. It's very important that members, the core of our objective, the core of the chamber, and I think we would like to work with you more. And what I believe such events like these webinars, it's not only about understanding what opportunities exist in the Arab world, it's what you can actually offer each other, because sometimes one group or one company can actually work with another company to enter another Arab market, and I've seen that many times, or even any market. So I think it's very important to understand that it is also working to member to member. We would like to see some things from you guys. If you're offering a service and you want to offer it at a discount to our other members, we can actually have a platform on our website offering a discount of your services to other members, and hopefully they will buy into it, and it creates more business for you on that basis. So I think really what I really want from you is feedback. Feedback in future of what you want us to deliver, how you want us to move forward. we're actually looking, hopefully, inshallah, if we can, and things don't change, to do a trade mission to Dubai 2020 or 2021 very soon. At the moment, travel, as you know, is restricted. There's a couple of Arab countries, Qatar, Oman, and UAE, on the red list. As you know, traveling out of the UK has become quite exhaustive exercise. I do hear UAE is actually negotiating heavily to get the British government to remove them from the red list. So when flights are available and we can do trade missions, we shall do so. So that's enough from me. I think now it is your show. It'll be delightful to hear what you've got to say. And I would like at this moment to invite Erica Finley from Chapter Healthcare. Chapter Healthcare is a world-class pharmaceutical supplier. They are very old friends of the Chamber, and I know Mr. Philip Chapter very, very well. They've been members since 1992. So some members stay with us for a long time because they enjoy our services. So that said, may I invite Erica Finley to give us a brief on what you do. Erica.
Thank you for that introduction, and thank you to the ABCC for hosting this event today. Just wanted to double check people could see my screen and hear.
Yeah.
Perfect. All right, lovely. Thank you. So I just wanted to spend a couple of minutes introducing Chapter Healthcare and our services. As you heard, we're a pharmaceutical wholesaler. We're a specialty wholesaler and distributor. We've been established over 45 years, and we've been supplying the Middle East for the whole duration of our time as a business. So given the timings and that we've got limited time to talk about our business, I thought I'd share with you a short video that we have that summarizes some of our activities. So that gave you a brief overview of Chapter Healthcare. As you will see, we regularly supply all types of pharmaceuticals, including specialty pharmaceuticals, orphan drugs and controlled drugs to customers around the world, and particularly in the Middle East region. And we are industry leading experts in terms of temperature controlled shipments as well, which is especially important for specialty pharmaceutical products. We have links with regulators, with customers and ministries in the Middle East region built up through our history, but we're definitely interested in developing our business further and meeting new contacts and having discussions with new contacts from different countries and different companies that are interested in the supply of pharmaceuticals and helping to meet patient needs. So I'd like to conclude by thanking everybody for listening today. If anybody has any questions or comments, then please do reach out, and we will be sharing some presentation slides and also the video in the notes that follow this meeting. Thank you.
Thank you, Erica, for that lovely presentation and the video. Unfortunately, we couldn't hear the gentleman speak our end, but we will post this information and these videos on our website. We're happy to circulate them to all the attendees today for your perusal. I'm terribly delighted because I have, as I said, Philip Chapter has worked with us for many, many years, and they do supply a lot of medicines to the region. And I think in today's world, medicines are very important for our health. Thank you so much, Erica. On that note, thank you. On that note, it takes me to Anthony Benham from Srk Exploration. They're geoscientists. They're all over the world. They've got 1,400 geoscientists and engineers. Very important in today's world for exploration. So, Anthony Benham, please take the floor.
Thank you very much. Just checking that you can see my screen okay?
Yeah.
Wonderful, thank you. Okay, so Eid Mubarak to everybody. Yeah, so Srk Group, we're a specialist mineral resource consultancy. We're one of the largest, if not the largest in the world, and we offer tailored advice to exploration companies and to governments all over the world. We were established in 1974. We've got more than 1,400 staff in 45 offices around the world, and we've been doing this for a long time. And we're completely impartial and independent. None of our employees own any shares or any part of any of the projects that we're involved with, so we are completely impartial, and we're prized for our opinion, and that's why companies and governments come to us for being completely independent. So Slk Exploration is a part of the Srk Group. We were established more recently in 2003, and we undertake work at the beginning of the mining cycle. So everything from the original concept of where a deposit may be, all the way to defining where that mineralization occurs, and to effectively proving where the quantity and the grade of that resource. We've got more than 1,500 clients around the world, including governments and private companies. The Srk Group itself, as I say, undertakes work throughout the mining cycle. Slk Exploration is the beginning of the cycle, but we also do all the different disciplines involved in mining, including things like mine engineering, water and tailings management, geotechnical issues, social and environmental issues, which are becoming increasingly important, of course, and any engineering studies as well. Again, in more detail, so we're at the Slk Exploration is right at the beginning of the cycle here, but we also do all of these different disciplines here. So if you've got any issues to do with any part of the mining sector, we are the people to go and talk to. Okay, map of our experience. The stars represent areas where we either are actively working or have recently worked in the last few years. In some places, we have multiple projects in some of these countries. We're currently active in Egypt, Saudi Arabia, and other parts, and Sudan as well. We've recently finished some work in Eritrea, and we have an active office in Turkey as well. So exploration, very briefly, what do we do? It's basically we find economic mineral deposits. That's our job. And our goal is to identify and unlock the value that those deposits create. So the types of works we get involved with are geological mapping, either at a regional or a detailed scale, geochemical surveying, which is taking samples of the rock or of stream sediments to identify where deposits may be located, geophysics, so using non-invasive technologies to determine what's under the ground, and ultimately drilling and trenching to prove whether a mineral deposit is there or not. It's a picture of some of the types of work that we get involved with. So in everything from panning to trenching to walking around with geophysics equipment on our back and taking measurements, mapping, etc., etc. Now, COVID's been a bit difficult for us, as it has been for everybody. We've been doing a lot more desktop work lately, although we have now just started to get out into the field. But we can get involved in desktop remote sensing work, and this is an example of the types of work that we can get involved with. So this is a satellite image of part of an area in the eastern desert of Egypt, and you can see the different bandwidths from the satellites enable you to actually find some quite good structures and do some geological mapping remotely rather than being on the ground. So we are still working now, even if we can't get into the field as much as we would like. Just a couple of quick case studies. We've worked in Saudi Arabia on a very big project in 2016 to provide advice and guidance to a company called AMAC. This is something that pictures of some of the stuff that we were doing on the ground. So trenching, geophysics, and core drilling as well. Setting up some core yards so that it's very easy to log these units. And I've just got a very quick, hopefully a video here of some of the work that we've been doing. So this ultimately, once we've trenched and drilled, we create what's called a 3D geological model. And hopefully you'll be able to see now all of the different sort of pinpricks, if you like, which represent boreholes, and the coloured intervals represent grades. And we use this information to create three-dimensional geological models, which help to understand where the mineralization is. In this particular case, it represents a couple of veins, which are quite steeply dipping, that have been intersected by some faults. We're quite adaptable to local conditions in the Middle East. You know, we can undertake logging of core samples at night. It's a bit cooler at night, of course, and you know, we're very cognizant of local culture as well, things like Ramadan and Eid, of course. A couple of very, very quick case studies. We've also worked on lots of projects in Egypt. I'm managing a project out there myself at the moment. This one was for the government out there, looking at some old gold mines that they wanted to re-establish. We've worked with governments. This one was for the Omani government to try and diversify their economy and get companies interested in coming exploring into Oman, and Afghanistan as well, which was a challenge, obviously, but it's something that, you know, goes to show we work anywhere. This was working on a project to help tender several projects to the international community for mineral resources in Afghanistan. So very quickly, last slide, just re-emphasizing how SRK as a group, and in particular Srk Exploration, can help. If you've got any interest in any of the sectors up here, then this is what we do. So please drop me a line, and I'll be happy to talk to you and explore how we can help you in the future. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Anthony. That was a great presentation, and you made geoscience very interesting.
It is interesting.
It is terribly interesting. I've never knew the amount of technicality, but the most important thing is the global reach that you have, and the amount of jobs that you've done across the country. You know, trying to find out what's on the ground in your country is very important, because, as I said, our man is trying to diversify. And there's a lot of riches in the ground, and I think a lot of countries are looking for the opportunity to find out what they can explore and diversify their economy. So keep doing the good work. I think you're doing extraordinarily well. Moving on, next I have our dear friend and Srk Atamimi, Director General of the Hebron Chamber of Commerce. I'm sure they do extraordinary work in the region, and we'll hear what is happening in Hebron on a business level. تفضل.
Thank you very much, Mr. Abdsalam. Good morning, good afternoon, everybody from Palestine. It's a great pleasure to present Hebron Chamber of Commerce and Industry, one of the members of the British Arab Chamber of Commerce from Palestine, a country that you definitely hear about during this difficult time that is taking place in Palestine. So we all pray that the situation will be better and will end this injustice that is taking place. Hebron Chamber of Commerce and Industry is a member-based organization that was established in 1953 as a platform that brings together both industry, trade, services, and agriculture. At Hebron Chamber of Commerce, we have around 5,000 members who are already representing the General Assembly of Hebron Chamber of Commerce and Industry. We work as a hub of the Palestinian national economy by bringing together this wide range of members from different groups that we are already having at Hebron Chamber of Commerce. And our main value at Hebron Chamber of Commerce, our main mission is that we seek to create a bridge, to bridge making between our members and the world. So being at this important meeting at the Arab British Chamber of Commerce brings us the importance of bringing together this experience that our members have at Hebron Chamber of Commerce towards this network. We work on the Hebron Chamber of Commerce on fulfilling our main vision by developing institutional structure, providing an innovation service to our members, contributing to improve the business environment in our area, and promoting our charter and increasing and developing our membership, by working also on strategic initiatives, including reviving the old city of Hebron, which is an ancient old city that it already includes also a historical and touristic site. So we are trying also to promote tourism, this area that already has the Ibrahimi Mosque and has an old and ancient area that built on. We are working also on building up an industrial zones and working on creating special industrial zones for different crafts that we are having. We are trying also to make a conventional and an exhibition center that can bring together, and we are working on creating craft zones. At Hebron Chamber of Commerce, we already have different promises. We have our headquarters, the main office of Hebron Chamber of Commerce that you can see on the main, photo, but we also have other offices, including our shoe and leather center that is already having a training center, a licensing center, certified by the Palestinian, Center for specifications, which provide already specifications for industry. Talking about our city in Palestine, our city is already famous for different industries, including the industry of shoe and leather, which I already spoke about. In addition of the stone industry, and we are well known for exporting the stone industry to around 70 countries. Recently, we already have the plastic industry. We have the jewelry and precious metals industry that is already working on crafting important industries. We already have the handicraft industry that include handmade glass blowing, ceramics, plus handmade embroidery that is taking place. We already have, if you log into our website on the internet, you can have a chance to log into a website that we already have for our different industries. It's already in the link that can include all the industries and all the trade that is taking place. We are open at Hebron Chamber of Commerce for cooperation with all your companies and organizations in order to build up a network with our country that is located in a center of the Middle East and that has a wide range of industry. Hebron city, where I come from, represents 40% of GDP in Palestine and 45% of the Palestinian industry. So that is making it as one of the main hubs for the Palestinian industry and one of the main hubs also for the Palestinian imports. We do have a lot of good communication and good exchange with the United Kingdom. We are also part of different international agreements, including the Euro one with the European Union, including now an agreement with the British government to facilitate the exchange with the Palestinian and the UK, plus also many other agreements with open trade agreement with the United States, with an open agreement also with all the Arab countries. So that makes Palestine also an interesting place for having investment because of its location and because of also its interesting agreements with other countries. Looking forward, if there are any questions or comments, you already have my contacts, my email and my number, and also ready to answer any question afterwards. Thank you.
Engineer Tarek, thank you so much for your presentation. It is terribly exciting to hear of the great work that you do in Hebron, how you're remodeling the structures in your city to make it more efficient, more tourist attractive, and obviously building on the old industries which are centuries long and delivering them to worldwide markets. I can see already a lot of synergy with other colleagues here and the opportunities that the region does provide in Hebron. So I'm sure we'll get questions later, but I'd like now to move to Natalie Pinon, who is a National Philanthropy Trust UK. Take the show, Natalie.
Many thanks. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Super. And see my screen?
Yeah.
Wonderful. Good morning or good afternoon, everybody. My name is Natalie Pinon. Many thanks to ABCC for this opportunity. Eid Mubarak to all my colleagues and friends. Today, I'm going to talk to you about National Philanthropic Trust UK. A whistle-stop tour, I should say, of donor advice funds, and as ever, always happy to take questions or have a conversation afterwards. NPT UK is, I guess, in a different realm to what we've heard about up till now. We are a charity, and the work that we do is based around individual philanthropy. Our mission is to make philanthropy more convenient and efficient for donors, so to make charitable giving more convenient. We provide expertise to donors, to financial institutions, and to foundations, and we offer something called a donor advised fund to individuals and families really all over the world, a lot of them based in the Arab world. I'll talk a little bit more about what a DAF is in a second, but really what it is offers the same functionality as a private charitable foundation or a charitable trust if you're here in the UK, without the need of having to establish one. We are an independent registered English charity, but we're part of a global group of NPT charities. And we've helped thousands of donors realize their philanthropic vision. As a global group of charities, we now manage over $16 billion of charitable assets. So what's a donor advised fund, or a DAF, as you will hear me say, or you may have heard of before? A DAF is a philanthropic fund that's established under an umbrella charity like NPT UK, who administers the fund on behalf of the donor. 3 very simple steps. A donor sets up a DAF in their name. I could call it the Natalie Pinon Charitable Trust. I could talk to my friends about it. I could write about it in that way. I contribute to my donor advised fund, and lots of different types of assets. Again, we can talk about what those are if you're interested, but cash, shares, illiquid assets, and other types of complex contributions are also accepted. Once those contributions are made, they cross the charitable threshold, so they can't be taken back at that point. They have to be spent for charitable purpose. When assets are in the DAF, a donor can then choose to invest them, so to grow them tax-free. And once a donor is ready, they can then recommend that the grant is made to a qualified charity anywhere in the world. A little bit more about the sort of global nature of our organization. So we have NPT UK here, obviously in the UK, that offers a UK-only DAF service. That's for UK-based philanthropists, but also global families. So many of the Middle Eastern families and Arab philanthropists that we work with will use the NPT UK service. We offer a dual qualified DAF, which is called NPT Transatlantic, for individuals that have US income or that would benefit from having gift receipts in both the UK and the US. And then National Philanthropic Trust is sort of the mother charity that was set up in the US in the mid-90s, and that caters for US-based philanthropists. I thought I would just take a few minutes just to talk a little bit about the effects of COVID-19 on philanthropy, specifically within the Arab world, but I guess this could apply in many ways to different parts of the world too. But I think we've really seen over the last year sort of a transformative moment for philanthropy in the Arab world across 3 areas really. The first being digitalization. So the support for digital solutions, obviously in the wake of COVID-19, has really grown in areas like online learning, healthcare, and income generation. And we've seen many donors that we work with support solutions in that area. Philanthropy has also supported innovative e-service delivery models for disadvantaged groups, like things like microfinance that you've heard of before have really come to the fore. Philanthropy has become a lot more institutionalized in places where it may not have been before. So there's now a greater emphasis on the long-term goals of philanthropy and how to sort of tackle the root causes of an issue. And there's also a greater focus on how philanthropic dollars are being spent. So how are we measuring the social impact of something, and how is a donor sort of assured that the money that they're giving away is making a difference. And finally, I think communication has been something that a lot of philanthropists, especially in the Arab world, have focused on over this last year. So the next generation of philanthropists, the younger philanthropists, are really keen on transparency and collaboration. And we've seen a number of platforms for voices of leaders in philanthropy in the Middle East appear over the last year. So DAFs are the vehicle of choice for many donors. And here are sort of the reasons why donors usually choose. I can hear some background noise. I'm sorry if it's me. I'm not sure if that's anyway, I'll keep going. You can make grants anonymously from a donor advised fund if you need, and that can be quite helpful for many philanthropists. You can have peace of mind for regulatory compliance. So the DAF provider like MPT UK or another will assume all the regulatory and reporting responsibilities associated with giving. You can use your DAF to give collaboratively, so aggregate capital with other donors, for instance, to support a specific charitable cause. It's a great way to engage your family or the next generation, sort of bring them into sort of the family investment mindset. You can make impact investments with your donor advised fund, so where you invest for both financial and social and or environmental return. And using a DAF gives you access to philanthropy expertise, as well as a network of specialist advisors who can help you really understand more about the causes that you care about. There is my email if you would like to talk about DAFs further, and always happy to take questions or to sort of have a discussion about philanthropy. It's something obviously that we're extremely passionate about. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Natalie, for that wonderful introduction to philanthropy. And I think in today's world, nothing is more important than to be able to assist through a serious fund to help people around the world which are less fortunate than us. I think I congratulate your organization and the phenomenal work they do and the funds that you're actually managing on behalf of your partners. So congratulations on that. Right, move on now to Mr. Jamal, Business Development Manager of Al-Yum Medical.
Shukran. Thank you, Mr. Idrisi. I don't know if you can see my screen and hear me okay?
Yes.
Yes, we see it and hear you.
I can't see you now, so I'll try to divide my focus between the screen and the camera. My name is Jamal. I'm one of the pharmacists at Al-Yum Medical. Al-Yum Medical is, in a nutshell, in a very summary, is actually wholesaler / distributor of pharmaceuticals. We all have seen in the last year and a half the effect of the pandemic on our health, whether it's mentally or physically, our relatives, our families, and everybody. And I am very delighted to say that with Al-Yum Medical, we have played a very important part in supplying medications at time of emergency through the pandemic globally to all our customers across the continents. We are at Al-Yum Medical with collective experience and knowledge of 65 years into the medical field, and the pharmaceutical field. With 15 languages on board, it helps us to connect with customers all around the world, including customers, of course, in the UK. And being from an Arabic background, as an Arabic speaker as well, I can tell that Arabic is one of the languages that we do speak at Aliem Medical, which helps us greatly connect culturally and professionally with our customers in GCC region and all the Middle East in whole. In Aliem Medical, we have 3 business divisions, and this is how we achieve our mission into the pharmaceutical supply locally and globally. We have the clinical trial division, the unlicensed medication division, which helps the UK patients, and also the international division, which we supply medications globally. And I'll go briefly into details of all the 3 divisions. The mission of Aliem Medical, in summary, is that to deliver the medications to the right patients around the world at the time of need, where we fill into the market gap of any medication that's been in shortage or discontinuation or a problem in the supply chain. And this is globally and on the national field as well. With bearing in mind that we have to deliver the medication to our patients, the correct patients, with its full integrity. And this is by keeping the product quality to its maximum and its fullest from the manufacturing point to the patient's consumption level. We have the operations team, as I mentioned, is the clinical trial in which we supply globally all clinical trials directly from manufacturers and playing in the field with major names like Pfizer and Shire, GlaxoSmithKline, and the big manufacturing suppliers in the pharmaceutical field. And this is actually to achieve the clinical studies of a particular clinical trial that is needed in that particular region, whether it's in UK or internationally. The ULM division, which is the 2nd division in Aliem Medical, and this is to supply all the UK medications, whether they are in hospitals or through prescribing doctors, clinics and pharmacies in the UK, where we fill the gap in the market. There is a shortage of a medication or shortages of supply or discontinuation, or the agent of that medication in particular could not supply into the UK. The patient in the UK would need that medication, and that's where Aliem Medical will source, procure and supply the medication into the UK market and the NHS and private hospitals. The global market we serve through the international division, which is the 3rd division of the Aliem Medical, in which I personally work for, and the Middle East is one of the big markets that we deal with. And we actually supply all pharmaceuticals through, whether it is a specialized pharmaceuticals or orphan drugs or generics or ethicals, any type of medication that there is a shortage or it's unregistered and it does not have any legal entity in that particular country. Middle East, of course, is one of them, and we have the other across the continents of other over 60 countries that we deal with around the world. And this is by sourcing and procuring and supplying the medication to the patients or to the hospitals or the ministries of health of that particular country. Of course, all of those operations, the 3 divisions, with the help and supply of the quality assurance team, and Aliem Medical is one of the leading companies in having specialized, customized quality assurance department to ensure compliance and product integrity of the pharmaceutical product from the point of manufacturing through the supply chain into the hand of the patients. And this is, of course, achieved by having 3 pharmacists in the house with Aliem Medical to make sure that all operations are compliant to ensure patient safety. Warehousing, of course, it's the point where we connect the customer service, and the packaging, export compliant and GDP compliant of good distribution practice enforced by the Medicine and Health Regulatory Authority in the UK and other countries where the product can reach at its full integrity to the patients. We have driving powers to achieve all this mission throughout, especially the COVID-19 and the pandemic, and how everybody has suffered the effect of the pandemic and the effect of exiting from the European Union. Alien Medical, we tried, like with our employers' support, we have tried our best to keep the staff motivated and the development of staff to keep the power and basically the positive energy and positive spirit to keep serving our customers, to get to everybody we can do go through that horrible pandemic and get through this problem. Teamwork is very important in Alien Medical, and the cross-departmental support, as we have all the departments, we have actually cross-networking between our suppliers and customers from all different departments, which gives us the access to specific products that is needed in specific markets with ease and with compliance, of course. The atmosphere as well is one of our powers that we keep for our customers. We try to give the good customer support, friendly feeling, and that every customer is an individual with its need, and we give them some tailored service as well. Why do customers come to Alien? As we have the knowledge and the experience and the diversity with the 15 languages in-house. It helps us to give a global service that is customer to our customers all around the globe, whether it's national or international. We have a wide, vast network that will help us access the medications to provide to the customers. Alien is undergoing a great global expansion and having offices around the globe to help enforce the network that we have and increase the partnership. And the Middle East is one of the regions that we have a stronger presence from the past and the current, and more plans to come forward. We have in the other departments as well, we do offer the door-to-door temperature controlled service, in which we keep the product at its integrity, especially to areas of the world that the temperatures are a bit on the higher side, like the Middle East, for example, in which we make sure that the medication arrives to the patient following the good manufacturing practice and good distribution practice set by the manufacturers to make sure the product is at its maximum efficacy. We have online quotation and order platform for unlicensed medication to help the UK patients and abroad as well, with fast quotation service. We have robust quality management systems to make sure that we are compliant with regulation abroad and in the UK. On-site registered pharmacy is one of Alien's strength points, that we have English over-labeling service in many languages, that we import the medication and make sure that it's labeled properly into the English language to help English patients and patients around the world, as English is the most used language in the medicine and the pharmaceutical field. So all the services are carried out at no extra charge. And that's it for me. Thank you very much, and that's it for Alien Medical. Please reach out if you have any questions about how we can help hospitals and pharmacies and doctors in the Middle East or anywhere in the world, or even in the UK, and I will be very happy to reply and to help. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Madam Khulud, for that amazing presentation. And it's so heartwarming to hear about the robust systems and the distribution that you offer, because it's terribly important in these days when I do hear of a lot of problems of quality of medicines, or even outdated medicines being shipped. It's nice to hear there's a body or bodies that actually can keep peace of mind to governments and to patients that what they're receiving is fit. And funnily enough, when we, in the early part of last year, most of our shipments to the Arab world were primarily medicines, are high on the agenda of many importing countries. So it's a good business to be in, and no time has it been more important for humanity. Thank you so much for that. Now, it gives me great pleasure to go to my dear friend Ayman Al-Awadi. He's the man you need to know if you want to do anything in Dubai. Tfadal. You got to put on your mic.
Thank you, Mr. Abdul Salam, and thank you, Mr. Bandar, for the great opportunity giving to us today to present what we deliver of range of solutions to attract the UK business communities to do business in the UAE. Many exciting news we have to offer and share with you guys in terms of establishing your business in the UAE and doing business here in this region. We are based in Dubai as headquartered of a group consulting firm with branches in Abu Dhabi, and we have a London operation through a company which is being represented by us through Fayha Sultan, our stationed representative in London. And we have our upcoming new subsidiary in Riyadh in Saudi. We inshallah are going to open it up during June. As we are now speaking, the flights have been lift off, and I can hear that there are some news that Emiratis can fly to Saudi and so forth, and that was starting from 17 or 18 of May, which is 1 or 2 days ago. And things are getting better in terms of the nearby GCC countries, in terms of traveling and the lifting up restrictions that used to be there for many months ago. Having said that, we are eagerly waiting for the British businesses to come and be able to visit us after hoping to lift out the UAE on the red list, since this is now at this moment is a showstopper, but I'm confident the UK government will do the needful, as there are growing number of calls in the UAE business communities, including the British companies. They are saying that UAE has created the immunity enough to support the ecosystem here and provide the protection and safeguarding everybody's interests, as the country has reached more than 75% of the total population being vaccinated, and the process is continuing and never stopping. What we do of a complete solution as a one-stop shop platform when it comes to attracting foreign direct investment into the UAE, providing right corporate structuring solutions for the startups, all the way to globally listed companies across all industries and sectors, through our beautiful facilities that we operate in Dubai through 2 business incubation centers. We host startups and corporate alike to provide nurturing environment for them to do business, supported with a wide range of corporate services. For those companies or individuals who would like to tap on UAE market as market entry approach, feasibility studies, getting to know the environment here, and creating traction of leads and prospect customers. This is the ultimate solution that we provide. We have something called business incubation services, in which a number of our British and Scottish, along with Northern Ireland companies, they are utilizing such solution, whereby without having a legal entity, we are securing a residency solution around it, and they are incubated in our business center and they are doing business with like-minded people who are in the professional services and industries of trading that we do business here, and we provide them the right environment for them to network and find prospects for their solutions. For those corporates or startups who would like to tackle the company formation solutions, we provide them a wide range of services here, tapping both on free zones and mainland jurisdictions. There are many business parks available in Dubai that is catering all needs and demands of any individual and corporate, depending on your business nature and activity, whereby you have the free zones with physical boundaries and next to the seaport or airport, versus those ones who are situated within the city, having a virtual boundary where you could do business in a flawless mode. Otherwise, for those entities who would like to be resided in the mainland for as an operating entity delivering products or services, then they have the solution that is equipped through us in terms of setting up their license or their business, and us acting as a local partner and local service agent, and support the business through a wide range of corporate services to get the compliancy matters checked and all the approval and regulations from the UAE governments, both federal and local government. With today's news that we have seen today, Dubai and the UAE has announced officially 100% full foreign ownership starting from 1st of June. Many formalities and execution formalities will be further elaborated to us through our strategic partners in Dubai government and the UAE government, and we will be sharing soon the news to all of our dear partners and clients who are in UK and waiting to know more about these regulation updates and how they could benefit from them. And when it comes to doing business in the UAE, we help these companies to network and to interact with each other. We provide professional networking platforms such as Network to Connect. We used to do it every month before the pandemic in a physical environment, but now we have it available over webinar. We also have, we used to have, Ramadan Majlis, but because of pandemic, we had to cancel the opportunity. But then we will be back, inshallah, next year, having these unique engagements for our clients that we represent them here in the UAE. We also tend to participate in government tenders on behalf of our clients. And so therefore, those people who and those companies who would like to get involved and understand what's out there in terms of business opportunities and tenders, being public or private, we will expose them to these opportunities by interacting and facilitating and providing the required know-how for them to take part of these opportunities. Having said that, many companies, they utilize Dubai as a springboard and as a pivot to the nearby countries. So therefore, we have a number of British companies. We have helped them to tap on Saudi, in which we represent them also in Saudi, and we do certain services and scope over there. And that's the reason why we are expanding, and we decided to establish our legal presence in Riyadh and to be nearby our clients and serve them in the region. And the same, we try to do and onboard these clients into nearby countries such as Kuwait, Qatar, Oman. These days now, with the political situation easing up between the UAE and Qatar, so we are able to conduct proper business and travel and go to Qatar. And these are all opportunities are available to explore and to tap on. Not forgetting about Expo, which is coming up on October, a great UK pavilion being built, and its magnificent project and design. I have seen closely through video and pictures and been briefed about it. And we are expecting many people to visit the expo. So for those people who are planning or who are scheduled to visit, it would be a very nice opportunity to see the town and the business and the vibrant environment that Dubai and the UAE is offering. I am available for further communication, and Mr. Abdulsalam will share my contact details, and I'm happy and proud to help and assist all members of ABCC.
Thank you, Mr. Ayman, for that great insight into the corporate group. And as I said at the beginning, he is the man to know on the ground if you want things to happen. I'm very interested and excited also. You're not just dealing with UAE, you've moved into Saudi and you're moving to other countries. But what Mr. Ayman is doing is really giving, holding people's hands into the market, which I think is very important, especially if you don't know the country well, you find yourself needing a bit of help and a friendly face. And Mr. Ayman is happy to do that. Okay, now my next speaker is Karen Wooster from Expatriate Tax Advisory Services, which is a very important thing that in today's world, anything to do with taxes. Please, by the way.
Yes, hello, and thank you very much for ABCC for inviting us to do a presentation to you. And I think it's quite appropriate that one of you has at least got a picture of the screen above your head. That's often what people think about tax. So can everyone see the first slide that I've got? Is that okay? And can you hear me? Okay, great.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. So you're wondering why we're probably a member of the ABCC if we deal with tax. And obviously, as the name partially suggests, we deal with expatriate tax. So historically, expatriates have been coming to the UK for a long time, particularly when expansion of businesses was in the 70s and 80s. And more increasingly, of course, expats have gone from the UK and particularly to the Middle East, particularly to the GCC area, where they can earn tax-free pay. So as individuals, we've been interested in that region since the early 80s. We've been visiting during COVID times. It's not so easy, but before then we were going out perhaps once, twice a year. So a little bit on the first slide gives some background about the firm. And we were actually started in 1995. I was at a Big Four firm in London where we started doing US and UK expatriate tax then. Andrew Robson was with Crown Agents based in Bahrain for a few years, and Isabel Robson has now joined the firm as well. The core work is actually preparing and advising on US and UK personal tax. So that might be for individuals who come to the UK, individuals who leave the UK, or people who actually live abroad who've got no residence in the UK but might have property or assets here. We've exhibited at the Middle East with DIT support in previous years, done trade missions, and have gone out independently. Obviously, everything that is now virtual, but we look forward to travelling and meeting people more in the near future. A typical client is one who engages us directly, perhaps referred by a colleague or their employer or another firm that might work with them, perhaps in their financial affairs or legal affairs. Some clients have just got no expat connections at all, have just been referred to us by a colleague perhaps. COVID did have major effects for many of our clients. Obviously, if we deal with their personal tax, we know much about their personal circumstances. It's quite a close relationship. So we've been supporting some clients with quite major life changes. and obviously that affects their work patterns and their travel patterns as well. Governments have responded with various payments and reliefs, and we're now seeing the first cycle of UK and US tax returns that will actually affect those reliefs that can be claimed. Another aspect we've seen recently is that obviously during the various lockdowns, clients have been organising their own affairs. Financial and tax is part of the list. We're seeing an increasing number of clients coming forward who want help dealing with late tax returns. And I've put the acronym SWAN there, that's sleep well at night. People are finding this is the opportunity to get up to date, and we're helping them with that. So we'll move on to the next slide now. This one shows the major UK and US work that we do, and this handout will be going out, but just really want to draw your attention to a couple of things really. If you want to move to another country, you're going to be dealing with at some point possibly some UK tax and related issues for that country. So if as employers you're sending people abroad, it's probably a good idea to give them some advice beforehand. That may affect whether they actually want to go to live in a place, or may let them know what tax implications they're going to have if they do go and live in somewhere else. Similarly, if someone comes to the UK, we'd recommend that they get advice beforehand. And what we're seeing also is that quite a few people are going to perhaps the tax-free GCC area, are building up pots of money that they didn't necessarily have before. And we don't do any investment advice or pensioners advice, but we often see the consequences of what they've been doing, perhaps when we do their tax returns for perhaps a rental property in the UK, or when they come back to the UK. But we would just give a word of caution saying don't do anything out there that you perhaps might not consider if you were in the UK. Take some advice first really, because by the time we do a tax return it's after the event and it might be too late to do something then. On the UK side also, quite a few of the expats that we're dealing with abroad perhaps left the UK some time ago, so what they know might be very out of date. Tax changes come along each year in the budget to the tax rates and the allowances, but concepts change as well. So we have a different method of looking at residence now, and we have a different method of looking at capital gains tax on the sale of property. Very different to what there was a few years ago. Individuals coming to the UK are affected by concepts of residence and domicile. So someone that they're talking to perhaps casually might have a very different tax result to what they have, depending on their background, how long they've been in a country, what their background is, how long they're going to be living in a certain place. We have a keep in touch retainer service for quite a few people who don't necessarily do tax returns at the moment. That's quite popular too. By contrast, on the US side, US citizens are of course obliged to do UK tax returns on a worldwide basis. So whether they're living in the UK, Middle East, wider area, they'll still need to report all of their worldwide income, even if they're not got any tax result as on the actual tax return when it's prepared. They still need to file those returns usually. Again, quite a few people are finding that out for the first time, so we're helping people get up to date on that as well. They have very different consequences for some common things like sale of a main residence to a UK person. Boris Johnson was in the news when he had to do some back returns and pay some tax, and then he relinquished his US citizenship in 2016. So on to the next slide. Given some names of people, companies that we've acted for, some are in the region, and basically our clients are worldwide. We prepare US and UK tax advice and returns for individuals, the UK, US, elsewhere. Always encourage people to take advice before you make decisions. in our client agreement, we say generally if it involves more than £10,000, think about some advice beforehand, and also don't let your affairs get too behind, because there are quite heavy interest and penalties from most tax jurisdictions now to encourage compliance. We would generally have a confidential chat if anyone wants to know about our services. So if you would like some more details, please get in touch. The details are on the slide. And we're happy to hear from any companies or other professionals who want to know more about our services, or who might be thinking about what we can do to support them and their employees or clients if they've got any aspects that we've touched on here. And I'd just like to say thank you for the Chamber for allowing us to do the presentation.
Thank you very much, Karen, for that wonderful presentation. Again, like the colleague earlier, you made it very interesting. I mean, tax is always a very complex and very difficult subject to handle. And I've seen the problems that many Arabs have had when the taxation laws changed for residency in the UK, and being taxed on all their earnings worldwide, and they couldn't understand why, and it was terribly difficult to help them through that process. So again, thank you so much. Very important subject, especially if you're investing between two different countries. Last but not least, may I invite David Hansen, Gittins. Aphex is a trusted global payment and risk management solution. The chair is yours, sir.
Good afternoon. Can everybody hear me?
Yeah.
Perfect. And I assume you can see my screen as well. So yeah, I just would like to introduce Aphex to you guys, and to give you a brief summary of who we are and what we do. Essentially, Aphex, we're a global payments and risk management solutions provider. We've got 22 offices globally at the moment. However, very soon I'd expect that this is going to change, as we've recently been acquired, and that acquisition is turning into a merger that completes probably in the next few weeks. So in terms of our global reach and the amount of offices and amount of clients and so on, and products that we offer, that's only going to grow and get a lot bigger in the next kind of coming weeks, if not months. So yes, currently we're headquartered out in California, and our office in Woodland Hills, and as it stands, we're one of the world's largest non-bank providers of foreign exchange services globally. But yes, our speciality is actually in risk management solutions, which I wanted to briefly have a conversation around today. And feel free to ask any questions after this, and I'll be happy to answer. So just a brief summary on some of the solutions that we offer, and a scenario in which that you may need our services, or know of somebody that may need our services. Let's just say, as an example, you've been invoiced in dollars, and you've got a payment that kind of you need to send that immediately, and you need to send out payments, whether it be to China, the UAE, to the US, or various other currencies around the world. Then essentially we'd be able to help you straight away with what we would call a spot payment, or an instant same-day transaction. And perhaps you've got a desired rate that you'd like those funds to be executed at. That's also something that we can do through the use of what we call a market order or rate order. And it essentially just means that when a rate reaches a desirable level for you guys, then we're able to automatically execute, and it doesn't require any kind of human input. It's something that goes into our system, and if a rate is achievable, perhaps in trading hours while we're asleep, is something that still is executed through our online system and so on, and you'll have full viewing of that if and when you are using Aphex. Or perhaps as well, you've got a payment that or an invoice that you know is due to be paid on a fixed date in a number of months' time. It could be even years' time. Essentially, what you're able to do is what we call a fixed forward, and that allows you to fix in a rate for one particular date. As Karen has said, SWAN, which would be to sleep well at night, knowing that the rate isn't going to move aggressively against you in the coming week, month, or year, perhaps. And on that particular date, you'd be able to settle that contract and send your currency wherever it may need to go. And on the other hand, you've also got a flexible forward, which is slightly different to the fixed forward, which I previously mentioned. And what that allows you to do is guarantee yourself a particular rate, however, use that any time within a given period. So if you know that over a year I send X amount of dollars, or perhaps I receive X amount of dollars for a contract or a project that I'm working on, perhaps in the UAE, then you're able to fix a rate and essentially use it at any time within that particular window. Or perhaps you'd like to lock in a rate, but a lot of people in the past have done that before, and they've come back to say perhaps the rate moved against me, or it moved in my favor and I wasn't able to benefit, and I feel like I've messed up or I've missed out. This is where we would point you in the direction of slightly different risk management solutions, which my colleagues are regulated to advise on, and they're called currency options, and allow you to kind of protect against downside, but give you a kind of cake and eat it scenario whereby you may be able to benefit for some upside participation. On this next slide, I'm just showing you just a very brief kind of chart as of yesterday, where the rates were interbank and where we've been over the past kind of 14 months, particularly to the beginning of kind of COVID, something unprecedented and something that not many people would have predicted would have happened. However, it did, and rates fell aggressively. And then this is just to show you the move back to where we are kind of roughly today. And that 20% move is, or more than 20% move is something that can have a huge effect on a business's bottom line and your profit margins. So therefore, we're here to kind of help and advise on kind of risk management solutions and hedging to help this have too big an effect on your bottom line. And here's just a very brief example as to the effect that it could have, I guess, on your profit margins. As a brief example, I can send this around after as well. So I guess why hedge? A lot of people would ask, why would I hedge? Or perhaps it's I've always sent or received payments in dollars or euros or whatever currency I'm dealing with, and it's always worked. So why should I hedge? And the answer I'd usually give to that isn't that hedging isn't about always picking the absolute best rate. It isn't us guessing or perhaps even being able to look into the future and say what the best rate will be. Because yeah, if I had a crystal ball, I would probably not be doing this job. I'd be sitting on a beach somewhere with a laptop and trading on my own. However, there's an additional kind of level and additional layer of uncertainty that has been presented to many businesses in the last couple of years, and that's with Brexit as well as COVID. So it's just to perhaps look into hedging as something to help you sleep at night, and one less layer of uncertainty to worry about. And then, another analogy in looking at why you may hedge is it allows you to buy your business time potentially. So let's say, for example, you've already forecasted a certain amount of sales. However, the market moves aggressively against you in the coming week or two. Then what you're able to do is, if you'd locked in, whether it be a week, a month, a year, or however long you'd like to hedge and look at managing the risk for, you've essentially bought yourself that much time to look into maybe repricing your products or changing things around fundamentally in your business, just to allow it the rate not to work against you too much in the future. And just to go through a couple of solutions that we have and how we would help particularly your businesses or perhaps your clients' businesses, would be first and foremost price improvement. So all we do is foreign exchange currently. So of course, if we weren't cheaper than the banks, or if we didn't offer competitive pricing, we wouldn't exist. And first and foremost, we'd look to improve your pricing, and then secondly, credit terms as well, and allow you to spread your credit risk, as well as a process improvement as well. So whether that be looking into the reporting capabilities of our online system, perhaps an API if it's required for yourselves, or file upload if you've got hundreds or thousands of payments to do monthly, is something that we can also help in. And then also, as I said, a trusted resource. We've got advisors here. We've got guys that are regulated to advise on your FX needs, as well as an independent advisor as well. It goes by the name of Trevor Charlesley. So let's say, for example, you didn't wish to use Aphex at all, or you didn't perhaps want to use our services. We still have an advisory service which you can pay for to get an independent opinion on perhaps where the market is going, but also what may cause specific moves. And then last but not least, I've got a few case studies, and as I say, it may be quite a bit to read through currently. However, I can get this sent out to everybody at a later date. But yes, I guess I'll leave it here for 30 seconds or so more. But to leave it at that, I'd just like to say that if anybody's business is affected by foreign exchange, or perhaps it's not worked out for you in the past, then what I can do in the coming weeks or months, if you reach out, then a free kind of health check or audit, what we would call, and just have a look at your processes and your pricing especially as well, and just see how specifically Aphex is able to save you guys money, or save you guys time, or perhaps just spread your credit risk. But that's all from me. Thank you very much, and thank you very much for having me as well.
Thank you, David, for that great presentation. Again, exchange rates are very complex, but I do know, and I think you touched upon it, exchange rates do fluctuate tremendously, and you showed us how it dropped so low and how it went up quickly, particularly when you're trading with international markets in dollars or yen or whatever, and in the big quantities, such as in the commodity market, what you'll find yourself, one movement of friction of a percentage, you've lost your profits, because the margins are very tight. Thank you so much for that presentation. I think it's extraordinary. Now, I've got some questions, but is there anybody that's got questions to fire at each other? Just shout out. No, I'll fire out some questions. A wall of silence, eh? Okay. Well, the first question I have is for Erica. In the past 45 years of you being in business, what changes have you seen in trading with the Middle East?
Well, I've not been in the business for the whole 45 years, so but we've seen a lot of changes around pharmaceuticals, so very much around the types of products which our customers are requiring. So obviously the types of pharmaceutical products have developed a lot over 45 years, a lot of very specialized products, a lot of orphan drugs for very rare diseases, etc. And they're all in demand from the Middle East. obviously with the growth in the region and the investment in the region and some of the real developments in the first-class healthcare and some of the hospitals you see there, then customers in the Middle East are really demanding, you know, the best that there is available, and they have very good care and facilities and hospitals that rival anywhere in the world. So there's definitely, you know, a shift towards specialty medicines to high-end medicines. Particularly, you know, for markets like Saudi Arabia, like UAE, etc. And obviously, if you're looking at the whole region, then there's some areas that are obviously less developed, have different demands, and are looking at some of the cheaper products as well. So yeah, thank you for the question, whoever asked that question.
I don't know, it just came through. Thank you so much for that. My next question, I'm doing this in order of speeches. Anthony, I think this is a bit naughty. Say more about the importance of the environmental impacts of mining and how you're working to address this.
It's a massive issue. Thanks for the question. And we're finding that our clients and governments that we work with are fortunately, in the most cases, taking the issue a lot more seriously than it's been taken within the past. Clearly, mining does impact the environment. And the scale of the operation will determine the length of and the scale of environmental impact. But it's something that is you can mitigate for, depending on every case is different, obviously. You know, we have specialists within the Srk Group who are dedicated to helping address these challenges and work with our clients to mitigate the effects as much as we can do. Clearly, the actual process of mining itself, once, you know, if you're talking about an open cast operation, it will affect the environment. There is no argument about that, but it doesn't mean to say that the longer term impacts necessarily have to be detrimental. We have many examples, and I'm sure my environmental specialist colleagues will be able to inform you with much greater detail and clarity, but I'm sure that there are many examples of operations that have successfully managed environmental impacts over the years, and we address the challenges of closure and rehabilitate mining sites as much as we take them seriously for the ongoing operational sides of the mining business as well, by looking at things like pit design and tailings management and things. So the short answer is yes, there are environmental challenges, absolutely, but we work with our clients and governments to address these all the time. So each case is different, but it is possible under most circumstances to address and mitigate the effects of mining to a greater or lesser extent for each of the opportunities that we look at.
Thank you very much. I think you've answered the question superbly. I think it's a very important question, but well done on dealing with it. Engineer Tarek, my question to you, or somebody's question, what are your main exports and what obstacles do you face, and how can they get overcome?
Thank you very much for the question. As I mentioned, regarding the exports from Palestine, we are famous for the exports of the high quality of natural Palestinian stones excavated in different sizes and in different strength. In addition, also to the export of shoe and leather industry that we are exporting, mainly also from natural leather, and also handmade products that is made, plus also the handicrafts of handmade glass, ceramics, and handmade embroidery that is produced, plus also agricultural products. Palestine is also exporting olive oil, plus also in Hebron, the city where we work at, is famous for grapes production. So we are famous for agricultural products exports. One of the main difficulties that we are encountering is that we are in the same economic envelope with Israel, so the control of Israel over the ports that Palestine is using is a difficulty. Sometimes it's also an opportunity because it's also facilitating the large number of shipments that is getting in and out from the area. One of the main facilities that I spoke about is the huge number of agreements that we have with different countries in the world of free trade, of free tax without quotas of exporting products. The difficulties, as I mentioned, is sometimes delay of some of the imports that we are importing from abroad due to an Israeli security chief. But we are trying to overcoming it, and we are providing a lot of services at Hebron Chamber of Commerce and Industry in order to facilitate import and export from Palestine in both sides, and also investment in Palestine, which for many companies in the world, including a lot of rich companies, are active in Palestine, and they are having a successful work that is taking place in here.
Thank you, Engineer Tarek. That was a very good answer, and actually you highlighted some very good points in your answer to that. Natalie, I've got an interesting question for you. Describe more about your work in the education field and how can philanthropy complement formal education system?
That's a good question. So we do, a lot of the donors that we work with support education. I think that's, across the board, really. If I think about donors everywhere in the world, education is a huge sort of area of focus for philanthropists who are interested in long-term impact of their giving. So certainly it's a big focus. We've had, as you can imagine, over the last year, an even bigger focus on education, given that so many children have been at home all over the world over the last year. So we've seen a big increase in support of both sort of large-scale organizations that sort of have very detailed programs supporting government programs, organizations like UNICEF, etc., but also supporting community organizations that may be working with disadvantaged children, giving them access to online resources for learning, giving them access to whatever it may be that they need to supplement the learning that they would have in school. So it's been a massive focus, and I do think that it has taught a lot of donors a different way of giving. People that may have been in both ways, so people that may not have been focused on giving at home are now a lot more focused on their local community and trying to support, in the area of education in particular, communities around them, people on their doorstep. But then equally, it's sort of open the eyes of many donors that may have been focused on their own, national programs to look beyond that, but given the global nature of the crisis. So yeah, it's been huge.
Thank you so much for that great answer. Now moving forward, Madam Khulud, question to you: what proportion of your business is done in the Arab world? What are your target markets for expansion?
The proportion of our business into the Middle East is around 40 to 48% at present, and it has grown in the last 3 to 5 years. All of the Middle East region are currently on board as a business panels, which is brilliant at growth for Aliem Medical. And the future expansion for Aliem, as we have presence in the Middle East currently, we are looking into more offices and more partnerships. They exist, and we are expanding that more, especially in the GCC areas and some parts of Africa as well. We have global expansion as well, that is away from the Middle East. We also have existence into like Latin America, Caribbean, you've got Australia and other areas across the continents, basically, and we're having offices and business partnerships as well, and distribution agreements into that parts of the world.
Thank you very much. Excellent response, and I hope you many more expansions into the other parts of the world. Said Ayman, question to you is, can you give us some examples of your recent success stories in getting companies into doing business in Dubai or into Saudi?
Yes, indeed, we have quite some. So one of them is called McFarlane Telfer, which is, they are a British company specialized in commercial kitchen maintenance. Their typical clientele are fast food chain brands of like McDonald's, Starbucks, and all these companies who operate and deliver services using appliances and commercial appliances in their kitchen environment. And these appliances obviously works 24/7. It requires serious maintenance and servicing, round the clock. And since their start 5 years ago, I believe, or more than 5 years, around 6 to 7 years, Dubai, we set up their operation. They, in 2 years' time, they've been growing massively in terms of the reach, the whole UAE, winning major accounts, and then from there they started tapping on Saudi initially through business development trips and coming back, and then they saw that this is not a sustainable approach because we have to deploy a team in Saudi to reside and cater to a growing number of opportunities which is touching the food and beverage industry. As you know, in Saudi and Kuwait especially, these two countries are really funded in terms of food and beverage as a business, because that's the lifestyle there, and many people, they go out for dining and eating outside, cafe and coffees and coffee shops and all these things. So therefore, there is a growing number of restaurant chains, local and international, are available there. So they had to be there in the region, and we structured a corporate solution for them where they can continue the same formalities that they started in UAE, and supported with our corporate services in terms of bank account opening, visas, and the residencies for the team to be residing there. And they are now in the phase of acquiring a small entity or an operation which is in the province of Jeddah, and now expanding into multiple locations within Saudi. This is one example of many that we represent here. Another company we represent is Rent2Kill Pest Control, which is FTSE 500 company. We started the operation from Dubai, and now they are all over the region in the UAE, in other Emirates such as Sharjah, Abu Dhabi, Ras Al Khaimah, Fujairah, and so forth. We are managing their portfolio of 100 plus employees, and their compliances and the regulations here in the UAE to be able to do business in the right way without hindering, and providing them constantly with local support, expertise of UAE labor law and other formalities that they need to have, and then also business development opportunities whereby we are introducing them to certain prospects or key accounts within the region here in the UAE or even in the GCC.
Thank you, Mr. Ayman, and thank you for that insight. And all I can say, well done and congratulations, and keep doing more of the good work. I think the British industry does need your help. Thank you.
We will do that. Okay.
Karen, a nice question for you. I don't know, what advice do you have about VAT as it is introduced in the GCC? How do you think VAT affects your clients and businesses?
I think GCC areas that are rolling out VAT have had the advantage of implementing a new system from scratch. I think as a region, it's very tech savvy. I think that's been to its huge advantage, and probably the UK VAT system is looking on with envy at the way VAT is rolling out there, because we've got so many legacy systems and so much baggage attached to our system that you don't have. You're starting from fresh. So in terms of rollout, I'm sure the Saudi one initially, I know, was quite hard on penalties potentially, but I think the staff on the helplines and the relaxation of perhaps penalties that might have been charged, I think probably helped people get confidence in the system and come forward. And I know some of the accountants we were talking to there were saying that the governments in the different countries were quite interested in the VAT rolling out, because they realised for the first time where some of their actual businesses were located. It's been a very good method of finding out what businesses exist, where they are, and tying up various records. So in terms of extra work, yes, there is extra work involved, but it will tie in with all the accounts and the other work that's needed anyway. So, in 2 years' time, people won't be having this conversation. It would just be taken for granted, really. And in terms of education, I think any of the big four firms, particularly, they've been rolling out information seminars, webinars, because it's in their interest to get all their clients up to date. All of the other local firms are doing the same, because ultimately their clients need to get it working.
Excellent. Thank you very much, Karen, for that good response and good insight on what's happening in Saudi and locating people who have been hiding, which I suspect. Excellent. Now, David, nice question for you. Can you say something about the impacts of the growth of new technology in your business, in your services, like fintech and stuff like that?
Yeah, it's a very great question. It's something question I've never been posed with before. However, with regards to our acquisition, I'll go into that slightly and how that will have an effect technology-wise, especially. We've been acquired by a payments company called FleetCor. They're an S&P 500 company, and in there they've got a number of products, and they span outside of specifically foreign exchange and kind of your traditional spot and forward payments. They are known for the world's largest oil card, basically, and the fuel cards, as well as expense cards and prepaid cards, virtual cards as well. And then on the other hand, they're rolling out technology that allows us to offer clients in advance, basically credit on, rather than the traditional credit lines that we would offer, which would simply be somebody forecast that they need to pay, I don't know, let's just say as an example, $1 million over a year. Rather than just offering credit lines on that, we're going to be offering credit lines whereby our system detects when somebody is regularly receiving money from a particular supplier and offer them that essential liquidity upfront, maybe a year's worth, or have a conversation surrounding how long they expect to be receiving those funds if it is fairly regular, and we can offer you that upfront. And then on the other hand as well, where technology will play a bigger part will be in the integration and API, and being able to essentially become a part of kind of our clients' businesses and their day-to-day processes, really.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that good response to a quite difficult question, really, but well done. But on that note, may I thank you all for joining us today and participating in this webinar. It was intriguing to hear of all your businesses and how you're flourishing in difficult times, but you all seem to be getting over the worst from COVID and looking into the future, like what we are at the Aboriginal Commerce. So please do keep in contact with us. Tell us what you want us to do for you. If you've got any ideas, we're happy to hear from you. Both myself and my CEO are available if you want to meet us or talk to us about anything specific. We're here to listen, we're here to talk, we're here to explore how we can serve you better. And on that note, may I wish you a good day and enjoy the rest of the day, all I can say. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.